Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I do have the lights off, and I am drinking pure and simply water from a glass. It's that kind of midsummer day where it's hot, muggy, early in the morning. It isn't as hot as it used to be before, but it's bearable. We have a lot of work to do. So here I am with another video for you all. Um, and I'm thinking it's my turn to rant and rave and rage. Perhaps I won't rage. We'll see what happens as the topic of discussion progresses. And what I'd like to talk to you about today is um, the top five cringe in Advanced Squad Leader. Now, you might ask yourself, George, how can Advanced Squad Leader be cringy? Well, Advanced Squad Leader isn't cringy. So, where does the cringe come from? That you will discover as we go along. But spoiler alert, it seems to appear externally from Advanced Squalor. Now you might be asking, what the heck are you talking about? Allow me to explain. Okay? So we're going to do the top five ASL cringe. That's not necessarily ASL cringe, but it is reflected upon or pushed upon Advanced Squad Leader. Let's start with number five, and perhaps you'll get the picture. Let's go. Come on, number five. There it is. A fixation on modular learning. Now, where does that come from? Now, there's nothing wrong with a fellow that is not familiar with Advanced Squad Leader to ask this question. What is a little bit cringy is not moving away from modular learning. And why am I mentioning modular learning is because the here it is. If you can see my little blue pointer here, uh, Squad Leader was first conceived with a rule book that was broken up into little modules, and you would read the rule book up to a certain page, and then at that stage of the game, it would tell you, well, now you can play scenario one, two, three. And then you'd move a little bit further, and again, it would introduce a new set of rules or uh, go into more depth and detail. And by the end of the first game, at least, you were able to play um, 12 scenarios, all at various levels of rules. And that system existed throughout the first four modules up to GI Anvil of Victory. Um, I only went as far as Cross of Iron. I was fortunate enough not to dwell with Crescendo of Doom and GI Anvil of Victory. At the GI Anvil level of Victory, my friends in high school were telling me, oh, this is too complicated for you, George. We're dealing with half squads, we're dealing with this, rooftops. Nah, it ain't for you. Well, I was fortunate to have completely ignored that advice, completely ignored. Actually, to be honest with you, I tried to acquire Crescendo of Doom. I didn't know what was getting into me, but I was fortunate enough not to squander money on the other two modules. I would say the game art in those all four of those modules were far exceeded the quality of the rules. Um, Now, why don't I like modular learning is because when you came, even in the very first basic game, what happened was, okay, you progressed through the rule book. You came to the um 12th scenario, and then you kind of reflect and say, okay, now what will happen if I apply these rules to an earlier scenario that was meant for rules one to whatever number. And there was always a bewilderment, a confusion or puzzlement as to how would the scenario play out. Now, what I'm saying here is that this uh, system actually caused two detrimental effects. First, you ended up having players picking and choosing rules. Oh, well, the scenario was not meant for this set of rules, so we're not playing with that set of rules. What rules are we talking about? Second level, first level buildings, and blah blah blah. Um, how about fires and rubble? Whereas when you have the advanced squad leader game system, you're dealing with a complete rule set, unless by SSR they're excluding certain things. Um, so the second detrimental effect is obviously fragmentation of the game, and you wonder and you doubt yourself as to whether the scenario will play out well if you're using one set of rules as opposed to another. That is completely abhorrent to me. Now, um, why are some people still fixated on modular learning? I fear it's because you haven't played the game to the extent where you have actually came upon a break. Now, I wouldn't go as far as saying that squad leader is perfect um, in every respect, and that there aren't certain rules that are not broken, but it's more perfect than modular learning. And forget it. You know, if you need to go to that length of precision in segmenting your rule book, then you might as well take a second look at it and redo it and simplify it, which is what Advanced Squad Leader is. As Advanced Squad Leader is retrofitting everything from GI back to the original Squad Leader and just simplifying everything. Simplification. It's math, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Now let's go on to number four. Number four. Complaining about a slow opponent. Right? That is cringe. And it's my turn to rant and rave. I have every right to do so. Now, if you don't want to hear it, you can either double time forward at double speed in the video, or simply, go to another channel. But complaining about a slow opponent is abhorrent. It's absurd. You know? Now, caveat emptor, I may have been guilty of that in the past as well, a bit to some extent. Yeah, your opponent asks you, how about wall advantage? Well, there ain't no walls. There ain't no walls on the map, and I'm taking it with a light heart. I'm laughing about it. It's humorous. Or you move your unit into a blind X, and you ask your opponent, any fire? Oh well, you know, but this picture is indicative of some people's relationships. You have the turtle and the hare. In life, as the old allegory goes, and look, squad leader is not meant to be played like chess. Nobody said that you need a chess clock to play this game, but if you so desire and you want to do that sort of game, and I've seen it happen actually. The opponents they come into a potential rule book dive moment, and the opponent says, "Look, let's roll a die on it, and just let's keep the flow of the game." To each his own. But obviously, look, don't complain about your your opponent's speed. It's a thinking man's game, and you'll enjoy the game better if you give the opportunity to your opponent to think about his move, let him move his pieces perfectly as well as he can. It'll be more challenging. And the other thing is as per written or unwritten rules, when you're playing this game, which was I go, you go, and during the defensive fire phase, you should be allowing your opponent as the attacker the opportunity to fire upon you or take line of sight checks for concealment loss, which are free line of sight checks, by the way, right? And ultimately, you should be thinking that you're blessed to be alive. You have a friend, or simply have an opponent, depending on how you think of your relationship with your opponent. And you're playing the game, for crying out loud. And there are people that can no longer do that, or were denied for the longest period of time because of family commitments. The inability to spend any moment of time on their hobby. And I've briefly read an article this week and saying, like one key to a good relationship is allowing your partner some quality time to themselves to pursue their hobbies, and people that are not don't have that privilege or opportunity. So keep in mind the old allegory of the rabbit and the hare, and um, do pay attention to that. Yeah. All right. Let's go on to the other thing. Number three, house rules for OBA. And I believe there was a journal article. And let's be honest, I'm not talking specifically about the Pleva system. There, because I've seen in that article, I forget what journal it was, there were multiple hybrids of in-house rules for OBA. And and again, all right, and again, there is a study with statistics. There was one critical element that was missing, right? Where's the historical data? Because if you're going to do anything advanced squad leader related, I can tell you for a fact, and another article I've read in a journal that I came across was the fact that there was a study about how much millimeters of armor a certain round can penetrate at any given range. And subsequently to that, you had the two kill table for advanced squad leader, which was a refinement of the two kill table that was introduced in Squad Leader, Cross of Iron, Crescendo of Doom, and GI Anvil of Victory. And having played those games to some extent, I can tell you for a fact that there was, back in the old days when of the typewriter and the printing press, where the computers didn't exist, a discrepancy between Crescendo of Doom and Cross of Iron on the two kill table, and all that has been ironed out um, in the current game. And although I never owned Crescendo of Doom, the used game that I bought of Cross of Iron had the quick reference charts of Crescendo of Doom, not Cross of Iron. I was playing those games wrong. And you always will make a mistake. With a rule book that thick, you're not going to to um, to have a perfect game. And that's accounted for in Chapter 8, Rule.2. It is a way um, of simulating a battlefield knowledge. Now, why do I hate house rules for OBA? For exactly that one of that being is the reason is that there wasn't actually a clear-cut study of how effective battlefield communications were for each side. Who had the best radio? Who had the best amount of training? Who had the most amount of discipline? What were the orders that you had to give in order to effectively bring down a barrage upon your opponent as a leader capable of communicating to a fire base who is your opponent and where the round should land? Yeah, that's an art in itself. Now, to my end, from my perspective, the advanced quality rules in this regard do a fairly reasonable job at simulating that. And Let's not complain of OBA being too effective, because usually it's not. And statistically speaking, that communication, all sorts of different things could have gone wrong. And typically, whatever can go wrong does go wrong in a typical game of Advanced Squad Leader. I was telling one of my opponents, like back in Vietnam, um, I had the opportunity to use a radio at one point in time, a military radio, and it was only a communication of about, I don't know, 400, 500 yards, and you're better off yelling at your opponent, screaming and yelling. And by the way, in the context of actual battle, your voice will not carry, even if you croak like a rooster, right? You're better off yelling than talking to the radio because of radio interference, static, what have you. Um, I feel sorry for all the folks that had to carry a 6 foot antenna and a radio in their back with God knows how heavy batteries for a lieutenant, and how many kids got killed in Vietnam because of poor communications. What you see here is a cartoon uh, manifestation of the Cross of Iron scene where our equivalent to a 6+1 leader was talking during a Soviet attack, asking, yeah, the movie was Cross of Iron, was asking, where's my artillery? Where are my tanks? Where's the Luftwaffe? Yeah, sleeping while you're getting attacked. And let's also face it, with a field phone, you can get the line cut by your enemy. And that's all in the advanced quality rules. Um, and if you take the time to go into depth with the rules, in chapter C and E, you get the best of all worlds with respect to the different types of barrages you can lay down. So, what are you trying to change if you're introducing house rules to OBA without attributing them to some sort of even an amateur historical study? You know, that's really upsetting, saddening, not upsetting, just saddening. Yeah. All right. Next slide. I feel better for talking about this. This is great. It's like a therapeutic exercise for me. Hey, I'll be honest with you. I'm addressing a point. I came up in Advanced Squad Leader Academy, one of these random shows. Neil Yulin and Stu were talking about snipers, and there was a great discussion. And I don't know what that brought, what was brought about. I watched the video. I heard that Neil was talking to Kurt Schelling. Sorry if I mispronounced your name, Kurt. You know, you probably never met a Greek Canadian in your life, but it don't matter. Now, if you're watching this video, now you have. We're talking about the sniper counter being an abstraction, and he brought up the COI counter sniper where you had a minus one, a 1 8 8 8 counter. It was a beautiful counter. I liked it. But what I didn't like about that game is, or that rule set was, for crying out loud, your opponent puts the counter using hip somewhere on the map. You don't know where. Okay. Um, and they do set it up. A good opponent will set it up in a way where if you move your leader at the wrong place at the wrong time, it will hit your leader. But after that, he pops up and he can no longer regain his hip status, but he's only concealed. That's the long and short of it. But what I really hated was the uh, the eeny meeny miny mo catch the nickel by the toe guesswork as to where the sniper is, and Could turn out that he's completely ineffective, or he'll get one lucky shot and then that's the end of him. Or what else can pop up? But it was really um the counters factors did not live up to the reputation of it on the game board or have anything to do with reality, or it did not forget reality. It just did not um it did not give you an immersive experience of the chaos surrounded with a shot ringing out from who knows where, and uh, the idea that hey, there's a sniper there, and uh, even when you think you've got all the snipers on the battlefield, there's one fellow that is concealed, and when you think you have won, he rings out a shot and gets your best leader. I'm talking about not only the the story depicted on the back of the box of the original Squad Leader, but look at Bands of Brothers. How many episodes have you seen where the sniper got the last laugh? The other thing that I like about the Advanced Squad Leader Sniper is that player that always rolls low consistently. What pops up are two things: either cowarding or a nice sniper roll. And one piece of luck is counteracted with another piece of luck, and it balances the game. So I don't have a problem with the advanced warrior sniper. And I don't think changing the rules, introducing a counter for a sniper, eh, I, I don't understand it. Some people are saying, oh, look, statistically speaking, you got a 1/6 chance or whatever the probability is of it being affected. So forget the sniper. It's not worth it because there's a low probability. And then somehow they incur a scenario where the other person got lucky. There's two elements of luck because typically sniper checks are snakes and threes, maybe fours. So you're rolling low. That luck is counteracted by another set of luck. You're complaining? Isn't that balance? And probabilities. I've said throw probabilities out the window. Think of randomness. Probabilities does not predict um, potential outcome. And sometimes you have to throw that probability out the window because you don't know if you're going to roll that snake eyes and threes, that improbable shot that will lend you victory. And some people took that to mean that a game is more complicated than it seems, and what's the use of studying probability? Look, buddy, you don't like math? That's your problem. What I'm saying though is I'm not going to play the game according to probabilities. I'm going to play the game according to victory conditions, knowing my terrain, knowing my rules, knowing my OB. That's Mr. Jim Bishop's maxims. That's something, like I've recently played a game where two of my best leaders were knocked out because of a sniper check. I'm going to play the game to its natural conclusion. I, you win some, you lose some. Period. That ain't no reason to start changing the rules and changing the goalpost. Anyway, that's my 2 cents about it. And I feel better now that I got it off my conscience, off my head. E. All right. Ready for number one? Drum roll, please. That's a very soft drum roll. I don't want to ruin my table. It's already worn out. Okay. Number one. Asking for a rule book rewrite with AI, as if AI is the cure all to all our problems. Don't get me wrong, I love artificial intelligence. I think it is the best thing that could have possibly happened in all humanity. Look at the Ford Model T and what that ensued, right? We have um, convenient transportation. Do we also have traffic accidents? Do we also have traffic congestion? We do. When a new invention comes around, it'll have its pluses and it'll have its negatives. Same thing with AI. I have no qualms about using AI. As a matter of fact, I used AI to uh, make these images. It's part of my imagination. I used a nice prompt. Um, I complimented it on its fine job, and it saved me a lot of time because typically I would have to draw these, and it would cost me a lot of time. So it saved me some time, right? Now, having said that, I like artificial intelligence. It has its useful purposes. If people try to use it the wrong way, that's on them. Unfortunately, that's no reason to say large language models and all this technology has to be either regulated or thrown to the wayside. Not at all. I encourage everyone to use artificial intelligence. Of course, check your work. You know, it's technology. However, why then do I find asking for a rulebook rewrite cringy with artificial intelligence or any other means for that matter? But well, we're on to our second edition. I'm aware that certain edits are happening. That ain't that's okay. But going to the extent of saying, "Well, you don't have a perfect rule book, and you should use artificial intelligence to rewrite the whole thing," that's cringy. That's cringy beyond belief. Because here's my reasoning why. Okay, as far as wargaming is concerned, there isn't a perfect rule book. Um, Even the easiest ones of them all, I've seen instances more recently on Facebook where the person is asking for a rule book explanation, and the rule itself was not written in a cogent sentence, irrespective of what language it was written and translated into, right? So you cannot, I don't think you can attain a perfect rule book when it comes to wargaming. It's like lambda calculus, right? Lambda calculus assumes certain sets of rules. It's called programming using mathematics, and it existed from the early half of the last century. I don't remember exactly the date, up to and including more recently, in a couple of decades ago, there was a mathematician that showed some inconsistencies. So with any rule book, you'll never have perfection. Period. But here's the uniqueness of advanced quality. It has existed for decades. Apart from the rule book, I can we all know that the content of this game now is at a stage where over a period of time, a long period of time, has increased exponentially relative to the amount of rules. In other words, there's more scenarios, okay, that you can play in any particular lifetime, starting from, well, if you count certain third party providers, the Spanish Civil War, um, pre war in the Asian Pacific, your period of the Second World War, and more recently the Korean War. So you're applying these rule sets to different um, geographic battlefields. Um, the core is from 1939 to 1945. but there's certain peripheral battles that also use this rule set, which amounts to a heck of a lot of content that was play tested at, at a minimum using the second and first editions, right? Now, here's the other piece of content that people don't take into consideration. The amount of player aids that are available, the amount of question and answers that are available. So we're talking about a massive amount of content. And you're going to use AI to fix what you think is wrong with a rulebook, irrespective of all the other dependencies on that rulebook. The scenarios, the question and answers, the game squad discussions, the Discord discussions, the Facebook discussions, the Q&A if I didn't mention it, the third-party content. You think AI is your solution to what you think needs to be fixed in the rule book? Enough said. I applaud you. Enough said. Yeah. Anywho, I'll be playing the game to the best of my ability for as long as I like. Um, I got the cringe off my chest. Hopefully, you have as well. But all I can tell you is enjoy the game, play it to the best of your ability. If somebody calls you out for a mistake, so be it. So be it. Keep on playing. Keep on playing as long as you like playing the game, as long as you're enjoying it. You know, don't let anybody upset you. It ain't worth it. You know, I had a, I had my share of hate on YouTube, and no, I don't know what these people are thinking. There are minors that watch my videos and see that, and the commentary that I get back from them is first, ignore it. We're talking about minors now, okay? Minors giving advice to adults. First, ignore it. And secondly, how these people that are disrespectful are described is befitting the well articulated description of them without using um, using any what is the word for it, without using any colloquial language, using formal English, proper vocabulary words. The word escapes my mind. Don't matter. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today. Now, as I said last week, I can't guarantee a weekly video anymore. Um, I've gotten to the point now where I have to do some calculations for my little fixer upper downstairs. Um, restoring things back to the way they were before due to the flood I had a year ago. So I got to do some math, order the material, put it together, maybe invite a couple of ASL buddies over for a game, um, pizza, and beer or soda, whatever the case might be. And also take care of work, take care of everything else that all the life challenges that are facing me. That's the situation that I'm in. Not much of a situation. Could be worse, could be better, like all of us. So with that said, I'm going to wish you a great weekend and a great week ahead. And I'll see you soon. Take care.